Yeah, he was on the 101 East, but only for a moment. And that's really the first time that we have heard that he's been on the freeway. The rest of the time, he has been on surface streets for the most part. So it's unclear if this is an area that is familiar to him or not. He seems to know his way around these small residential streets pretty well. And fortunately, in terms of close calls, we haven't really had any, even though he has been traveling at high speeds. Again, a man on a bike, pursuit that started now at about I want to say it started at about 7 o'clock, but for about an hour, the LAPD had tried to negotiate with him to just surrender. Yeah, they're giving him a little bit of room because they essentially don't want him to think that he's being pursued, and perhaps that'll get him to slow down or even pull over and get off the bike. But there are a few units from the LAPD that are behind him. Earlier, I counted about 3. We just passed one there on the opposite side of the road, and there is a police helicopter overhead as well. Correct, yeah. Just on the west end of the San Fernando Valley the entire time. It's unclear what this man's mindset may be, why he was seen brandishing that weapon, what his intentions may have been. But the good thing is that we don't believe that anyone was hurt. And this is actually my chance to widen out and count those units, because we were wondering how many units were in the pursuit. And it's actually about half a dozen units of the LAPD's West Valley Division that continue to chase this guy on the ground. But you've also got a LAPD chopper overhead. I know, see, I lost IFB. Yeah. We don't believe that they're actively in communication with him, but from what we understand, they know who this man is. So they do have a little bit of information about him, and with that, we believe that he knows exactly. They know rather exactly where he lives as well, because we don't believe that the bike is stolen. So they're able to run the plates on the bike, and again, they know who this guy is, so they know who they're in pursuit of. So this could eventually turn into a situation where they let this guy go for now, considering that they know who he is, they know where he lives, they can try to get him at a later date. But the real risk here is that he was seen with that weapon, whatever it may be, whether it was a handgun or a long gun or something of that nature. So for that reason, it does add to the level of danger. So it may be a situation where they don't let him go and will stay in pursuit here on the west end of the San Fernando Valley, now here in Woodland Hills. Correct. As far as we know, he didn't actually fire off any rounds if it was a gun of some sort, so we don't believe that anyone was hurt in the exchange. But obviously, people saw him with that weapon. They called the LAPD. They quickly responded, and they tried to get him to peacefully surrender. But considering that he had that weapon, of course, they couldn't get too close, and that's when he jumped on the bike and took off. And it's been a chase now that's been going on now for over 20 minutes. It's been a fast mover, and he seems to know his way around the area pretty well. Lots of twists and turns on these residential streets, and he hasn't gotten lost yet or driven into a dead end yet. And of course, you've still got those LAPD units behind him. You've got an airship overhead, and he just ran that red light. So really picking up speed here in Woodland Hills. So he just Yeah, that was actually that was a close call there. That was actually the 101 that he just went under. So now he's going away from the 101. If it was his intention to get on the freeway, he went the wrong way. So he's continuing on surface streets here instead. Shoup Avenue, which is going to be the major here through the area at Miranda Street. It looks like the answer is going to be no, yeah. Yeah, but the LAPD officers who were behind him thought that perhaps that would be it. You saw them open their doors. They were starting to get out of their vehicles in what becomes a high-risk traffic stop because he's armed. They would draw their weapons and try to get the man to get off the bike and surrender. But in this case, he simply took off, making yet another turn here onto Oxnard Street from Shoup. Definitely more difficult, and I've never seen them try it. And I think the reason would be it's because of the type of vehicle that it is. He could potentially get hurt. And of course, the LAPD wants to protect all life and property, even if that's the life of the bad guy in this case. So for that reason, I don't believe that they're going to try any spike strips, and they're definitely not going to try a pit maneuver because, of course, they wouldn't want to hurt him in any way. Yeah, it's unclear what his pattern is, if he has one. But just staying on surface streets here in Woodland Hills, he gets on the majors like this one here, Topanga Canyon, from time to time, and then gets into the small residential streets. We'll see him pop out here on the other side of these buildings. But the speeds have been... Oh, that's a good question, Robert. Let me push in and we can check here. Yeah, it looks like he does have what looks like a black helmet. So black helmet, white bike, and of course the bike itself could possibly be a Harley with those saddlebags. The MPG on these is relatively good, so it's unclear how much gas he started with when this all began. We have covered motorcycle chases, though, where they run out of gas, and that's what brings things to an end, or they'll even pull over and try to get some gas. So at this point, it's unclear what he started with when this all began. But the chase itself really hasn't been going on for too long, only about 30 minutes at this point. He's back in Woodland Hills. Yeah, so Woodland Hills, he's on Burbank Boulevard, the major street here through the area at Fairlawn Avenue. And again, this is a situation that started, was described as a barricade situation with a possibly armed man somewhere in the area of Chaminade High School. Yeah, that's the initial information that we're getting, and we're waiting for the official confirmation from the LAPD, but understandably they're busy, so we haven't been able to get them on the line to get their official word on this. But from what we understand, it started off as some sort of barricade situation, or perhaps a standoff might be a better word for it, where the man was refusing to surrender for a good hour before he jumped on the bike and took off. That is correct. As far as we know, no shots fired, nobody hurt. But of course, the LAPD wants to talk to this man because he was seen brandishing that weapon in the area of a school. So that is why they wanted to talk to him, and they did try to talk to him for a good hour before he jumped on the bike and took off. And at this point, he does not appear to be in cell phone communication with them. I see both hands on the handlebars. So he's just focused right now on just riding and trying to get away. Yeah, he seems to know his way around this area pretty well. For the most part, staying in these residential neighborhoods of Woodland Hills for a very short time. He was on the 101 freeway, but it was really just one freeway exit's worth. So it does appear that this is an area that he is familiar with. And his speeds really haven't been incredibly fast. We have seen him run some red lights, though. Really not too many close calls, so that's always good because If he does collide with anything, he's really probably going to be the one that gets hurt the most, considering that he's on a motorcycle. But here, coming to a full stop here at the stop sign, clearing the street here so that you can make that right-hand turn onto Victory Boulevard from Glade Avenue. All right, copy that. Thank you, Boo. And thank you to everyone who continues to watch us online on NBCLA.com and all of our streaming platforms. I'm Eliana Marino alongside my pilot, James Pollard, and we are over a pursuit of a motorcyclist here in the Woodland Hills area. This is the LAPD's West Valley Division that is in pursuit of a man who they believe was seen brandishing a weapon near Chaminade High School earlier today at about 6 o'clock. Now, LAPD responded to that scene. They tried to get the man to surrender, but it appears that after about an hour of communication, he jumped on the bike and took off. And it's been a pursuit now that's been going on now for about the last 30 minutes. It hasn't been incredibly fast, but he has been running the red lights at times. At times, though, he just actually follows the rules of the road and comes to a full stop at stop signs and at lights. So there's really no rhyme or reason at this point to what he's doing, other than just continuing to circle essentially the same area. So he's staying in Woodland Hills. He's, for the most part, sticking to the residential areas, but right now he's out on the major, which is Victory Boulevard at Topanga Canyon. Slowing down just a touch here. Looks like he's got just a little bit of traffic in front of him. So this is actually the first time that we've seen him encounter traffic like this. So it looks like he doesn't want to wait. He's going to start splitting between cars. Of course, the LAPD units that are behind him, they can't do that because they're all in regular squad cars. There's no motorcycle officers in this pursuit. Sometimes you will see motorcycle officers in chases, but typically they are not included because it's simply too dangerous. So for now, about 6 units of the LAPD's West Valley Division that are in pursuit behind this motorcyclist, and you've got the LAPD chopper overhead as well. Victory Boulevard at Canoga, making that left-hand turn. This will be my chance to count the units. I counted 6 earlier, and I'm still counting 6. So we have 6 units of the LAPD. We've got the airship overhead. The bike itself appears to be like a Harley, white in color. The man is wearing a helmet, but really no leather other than that. It looks like it was pretty much the easiest way to get away from that standoff situation that he was in with the LAPD near Chaminade High School, jumping on the motorcycle rather, and taking off. It's going through the intersection here at Van Owen and Canoga. So most of the major streets on this part of town, they're relatively wide streets and not typically too incredibly busy at this time of the day. It is 7:30, so most people have gone home for the day. But of course, a lot of people going out to dinner at about this time, so that does increase the traffic in the area somewhat. He's continuing, though, on Canoga Avenue, now in Canoga Park. So we really haven't been in Canoga Park in terms of how long we've been over the chase. The entire time that we've been overhead, he's been in the Woodland Hills area. But now coming up to this red light at Canoga Park and Sherman Way, and continuing through the red at about 50 miles an hour. Okay, coming up to another light. Canoga Avenue at Cohasset Street, which Cohasset, I believe, is where the barricade situation may have been going on before. So this does appear to be an area that is familiar to him. Again, this all started from what we've been able to gather, because we haven't been able to get an official LAPD statement on this one, but it's a situation rather that started near Chaminade High School. The man on this bike was seen brandishing a weapon of some sort. What type of weapon it was is unknown at this time, but after trying to negotiate with him for about an hour, the man jumped on the bike and took off, and it's been a chase that's been going on now for a little over half an hour on surface streets, mostly in the Woodland Hills area. Coming up to another light, I'll widen out. Okay, going right under us here for just a moment on Topanga Canyon at Cohasset. Copy that, Jack. Thank you. Okay, Topanga Canyon. Oh, and maybe turning into a smaller street here. Let's see. He hasn't been over here before. So is this a calculated move, or is this guy lost? I think we're about to find out. Coming up to a intersection here. Yeah, this isn't an area that we've been at before. He's been in Woodland Hills a lot, but just finally crept into Canoga Park. So this is Sherman Way at Farallone. Picking up a little bit of speed here, about 60 miles plus. For those of you who have a scanner at home and like to monitor these situations with us, I'm listening to it on LAPD's West Valley Division, so you can hear the interaction there between the officers and the dispatcher. So we're shooting into the sun a little bit here, and it's a pretty hazy evening, so pardon the shot here. Sherman Way at Fallbrook. I have Bluetooth up. Okay, thank you. Okay, cool, I got it. Hey, Tim, will you let me know when they're going to start, and I'll pop it on then? Thank you. Okay. Back with you guys here, continuing on Sherman Way at Royer Avenue. And the okay. Copy that, Tim. I've got it up. We're at Woodlake Avenue at Vale Drive. Now in West Hills. So we left Canoga Park, now we're in West Hills. Again, LAPD's West Valley Division is in pursuit of a man who was seen brandishing a weapon near Chaminade High School during the 6 o'clock hour. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Then I'll just, okay, no worries. I'll do it myself then in both. Back with you guys here, just taking care of a quick little issue there up here in News Chopper 4. But we're in West Hills, Cohasset at Bobby Boyar, which I believe is actually where all of this may have started, because you can see the trucks here from the LAPD. Yeah, so we're essentially back at Chaminade High School. We're back where this all began. You'll notice he's gonna, wow, look, he's gonna drive right past that yellow tape. He's blocked in. This is a cul-de-sac, but this may actually be where this guy lives. So we may have come back home. I do see that there's somebody out there waiting for him. I believe those are officers. Sure enough, we have officers with their guns drawn. Let me drop the map there. But officers surrounding this man here in what I believe is his own driveway. They're going to be taking him down in a moment. A swarm of officers moving in, guns drawn, taking this guy to the ground in what we believe is his own driveway here off of a house off of Wyndham Street and Melba Avenue in West Hills. Again, not far from Chaminade High School, where this all began about an hour ago when that man was seen brandishing a weapon. Again, we don't believe anyone was hurt in that exchange. Officers tried to negotiate with him, but he jumped on that bike and went for a pursuit around town here for about 40 minutes before he returned home and is now down on the ground with handcuffs. They will search his person to make sure that there's nothing on him that could potentially harm them. Of course, they're going to be looking for whatever weapon that was that he was seen brandishing, in case it was a handgun. We don't know if it was a handgun or if it was something longer like a rifle. It's really unclear at this point. Again, we're waiting to get the official word from the LAPD on this one. But it looks like this is going to be the culmination of everything here in West Hills. Again, just off of Wyndham Street and Melba Avenue, not far from Chaminade High School. The man is upright, as you can see, but he seems to be a little bit out of it. He's just kind of having trouble staying upright. And they're just searching his person. This is typical of any arrest or anytime anyone is detained. They will search the person just to make sure that there's nothing on them that could harm any of the officers. And it looks